Tom Brady took Father Time deep into the fourth quarter. Father Time remains undefeated. But man, what a career. What a career. So much to learn from. I wrote some things down I wanted to share with you that come to mind. I studied Tom Brady for a long time because of the fact I have a quarterback academy. Pretty good guy to study, pretty good guy to use as a role model for young quarterbacks. But any athlete, really. People don't understand, they see the success. They see the person at the top of the mountain, but they don't understand the climb. Tom Brady was the backup quarterback on his 0-9 freshman football team when he was in high school. When he was at Michigan, he only played for about a year and a half. He had to compete with a quarterback there by the name of Drew Henson. Drew was just an all-American, Mr. Everything, baseball player drafted by the New York Yankees before he went to Michigan, had a baseball contract, ended up going to Michigan to play football. And he was just expected to be able to do it all. Just a superb natural athlete. So, of course, he got all kinds of opportunities to play at Michigan, and Tom had to compete with that. So, ended up having some success his final year there. Good enough to be drafted in the 6th round, not the first round, the 6th round by the New England Patriots. Got a shot when Drew Bledsoe went down with an injury. But I love the stories. I love the stories of Tom Brady. He just executed on leadership on so many levels. I write about so many of the things he executes on. I talk about and write about in my book. Let's talk about a few. First of all, law of the lid. Why were the Patriots good every year? The law of the lid states that an organizational success will never surpass the level of its leadership. Organizational success, I don't care if it's a big business, I don't care if it's a sports team, I don't care if it's a school district, a school, a family, will never succeed beyond the level of its leadership. Leadership is almost like a lid, so if you want to raise the bar on your performance or on your execution, you need to raise the bar first on your leadership. So that's why the Patriots were good every year, because they had Tom Brady, a great leader. Love the story of Rich Orenberg, who was an NFL lineman, came to the New England Patriots. He's being interviewed by Colin Cowherd on the Colin Cowherd show. And Cowherd's like, wait, what was it like when you went to the Patriots? And Tom Brady had already won a couple, 2-3 Super Bowls at that time. Was a household name. And Rich says, "Oh man, it was pretty cool. I go into the locker room, and the first day there in the facility, and Tom walks over to me, holds out his hand, and he goes, 'Hey, Rich, welcome to New England. My name's Tom.' And he holds out his hand. And Rich is like, 'Yeah,' thinking to himself, 'I know who you are.' But just the humility to go over there and introduce yourself, not assuming that this guy knows you. And then he comes and sits down with him like the next day in the lunchroom, and he just starts asking him questions about his family, where he's from, what school he went, what college he went to, just getting to know him on a personal level. Rich was really taken back by that. And then, like the next day, comes and sits with him again at the lunch table, starts asking him more questions about what his interests are, and they start talking about hunting and fishing, that sort of stuff that Rich was interested in doing. And it's just cool, just taking time to get to know him, right? And then, after he'd gotten to know him a little bit, then he starts coaching him. He doesn't go in and start coaching him right away and tell him what he needs to do, but he builds a relationship with him first, gets to know him, and then kind of earns the right from there to kind of coach him up on pass protection schemes and that sort of thing. So just a great story about how he connected with his teammates, as great leaders do. They take the time to connect with people. I remember I was doing some teaching, and one of the administration they'd come around, they'd give you, they'd bring the teachers, they'd bring us like these little snacks and stuff, and tell us how much they appreciated us. And I always thought, forget these snacks. How about you take time to get to know me? How about just sit down with me and learn about me? I could write a book about what you don't know about me. But they just didn't get it, Spending time with people, getting to know them, asking them questions, staying in a place of curiosity, really getting to know them on a personal level is an initial critical step of leadership required, really, So that's a pretty cool story about Tom Brady, but I love it how he was such a great leader. Never throw his teammates under the bus. They'd come up to him after like a game where maybe the offensive line gave up a bunch of sacks, like 6 sacks, and they'd stick a microphone in his face and national TV and say, "Tom, your offensive line gave up 6 sacks today. What do you have to say about that?" And they'd pop a microphone in his face, and he would just handle it so well. He'd be like, "Man, that's on me. I got to get rid of the ball quicker. I just holding on to it too long today, and I got to get it out quicker. So that's really on me. Those guys are doing a great job up front." "Hey Tom, your receivers had 7 drops today. What do you have to say about that?" "Man, I just wasn't my ball placement was off, man. I just wasn't putting it in the right spot, and it's just a little bit off today. But we'll get it together. I'll get it together, and we'll be back next week." And what do you think his teammates are thinking when they're sitting there watching that stuff? They know they screwed up, and this guy's taking all the blame. And you think they're going to play harder for him next time? It's just unbelievable stuff that so many people don't get. They want to blame others when things don't go well, and they want to take the credit when things do go well. It's not the way it works when you're in a leadership position. So such great stuff, the way Tom would execute as a leader, and I'd just study that stuff. Write about all these strategies in my book. You go get it at 3dcompetitor.com. The Winning Edge Way, how to be a 3-dimensional competitor, how to elevate yourself, how to make yourself better, elite performance strategies on how to make yourself better, create the right mindsets, behaviors, attitudes to lead you to success, how to help others be better. That's the second dimension. That's basically all about leadership. And then how to make the game better. Tom Brady did all those things. Learning based. He was watch specials on him on how much he studied film at home and how curious he was about the game. Just devoured film study. Loved the study of the game. How do you play late into your 40s? The game of football. He's 15 years older than the average person out there. He's playing against guys that he's old enough to be their dad. It's unbelievable in football. We've never seen that before at that position. There's been like kickers and punters that have played into their 40s, but man, never a quarterback, never somebody at that level, executing at that level. I mean, how do you do that? Well, sure, his physical skills diminished, of course. 45 years old, 46 when he retired. Around the corner from turning 50, and he's still playing NFL football at the highest level. Well, he does it because he understands the game. He's able to make quick decisions. He knows what to do with the football. He can't do it with his feet and his legs. He was never fast in the first place. That's another thing. Look at him, the film of him running the 40-yard dash at the scouting combine when he was coming into the league. I mean, it's almost funny to look at his physical being back then, and how he executed on the 40, man. Not very fast at all, but just worked, man. Just showed up and worked. Had that growth mindset that, he wasn't going to be limited by his physical abilities or natural talents. Rather, he is going to have a growth mindset that basically says there's your potential, your abilities are uncapped, only limited by how hard you want to work, how much time you want to put in. That was his mindset. Growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset says, well, I guess I wasn't good enough, right? My natural abilities only takes me so far. Whereas a growth mindset says, I can always get better. I just got to work harder. Fixed mindset, losing disappoints. Growth mindset, losing stirs curiosity. So big difference in those kind of mindsets. And Tom Brady certainly had a growth mindset. So much to be learned from a guy like that. What about the impact he left on the game? That's the third dimension I talk about, is leaving the game in a better place, than you found it. And man, did he do that? Did he ever leave that game in a better place than he found it? Set a great example for so many young athletes out there, young quarterbacks or young athletes in any sport, on just how to behave, how to carry yourself, how to lead other people, how to energize other people. He was such an energizer of his teammates. He was so passionate about the game. It was infectious. Having a great attitude, being enthusiastic, it's infectious. It energizes your teammates. So when they show up in the dog days of summer practice, and they're hurting and they're not feeling well and they're coming off losses or injuries or whatever, man, you're like providing emotional fuel for their tanks, so that they can operate to the best of their ability. They can overcome challenges and adversities, because you're like putting gas in their tank. But instead of actual fuel, it's emotional fuel. All athletes need emotional fuel to be at their best. So many things drain our tanks as athletes. Coaches yelling at us, criticism from spectators, fans, social media, even teammates sometimes will drain your emotional tank. So we have to be, as leaders, tank fillers, emotional tank fillers. Easiest way to do that, by the way, is to being a master observer. Look for opportunities to acknowledge the positive behaviors of your teammates. Not positive results, but positive behaviors. Catch them doing good things. Catch them hustling. Catch them helping other teammates. Catch them executing and learning new skills, and then acknowledge it to them. Again, another way to fuel their emotional tanks, but just be a master observer. So Tom Brady was all that. Such a great example. Appreciate him so much. Used him so much in my coaching as I look for examples, the young quarterbacks I coach. So really good stuff. Fabulous career. I don't think we'll ever see it again in our lifetime. Who else do we compare someone like that to? Certainly you have to go beyond football and look at someone like Michael Jordan, what he did in basketball with his multiple championships. Another great example. Put those two people in the same category. The GOATs. When that term GOAT came out, I didn't understand what it was. What's all these people talking about GOATs? What's that mean? And finally I learned that it stood for greatest of all time. GOAT, greatest of all time. Brady's certainly the GOAT of football, no question.